Hello, welcome to another session on decimals. We have started with the addition and subtraction in the last video. Herein we will be taking first one of word problems and then move on to multiplication. Let me write down the word problem here. A tank is 53.9 centimeter deep, contains water to a depth of 43.875 centimeter. The question is, how far in centimeter is the is the water level below the top of the tank. So what you do, this is suppose a tank. This height, I know it's a little tilted tank. 53.9 is this depth. You have water to certain extent like this, suppose 43.875. This is a water level. It's asking us how far in centimeter is the water level from the top, so we have to find this. Now that can be calculated by subtracting the capacity of the tank. So it is 53.9 subtracting 43.875. Should be writing the decimal below each other because here it seems a little moved. That will always help, because I need to subtract. I have to put 2 zeros here. Now when I subtract, that will give me 5. This will give me, I think, 2. That should be 0. I have to put the decimal as well. That's again a 0, and there will be 1. Let me check if I did it rightly or not again. Subtracting this is giving me, yeah, I have done it rightly. This is the water level in centimeter, which is below the top of the tank. I'm not writing the statement answer. Well, now we take up multiplication. You just need to be very careful when you are learning because of the movement of the decimal places to the right when you are multiplying. See, the first one is to multiply a decimal number by 10 or power of 10. That means if I am multiplying a decimal number, I assume any of the decimal numbers, suppose 45.25. I'll multiply that with 10. Then we learn multiplying the same decimal number with a multiple of we have said about the power of 10, so that becomes 100. As well, the same decimal number with 1,000. How the decimal places would move. When we are multiplying with 10 or a power of 10, the decimal point moves as many places to the right. This decimal place, will move as many places to the right as the number of zeros. Zeros in the multiplier. Now in the first example, question, if you see, you have 1 0. that is 10, it has 1 0. As because it is 1 0, the decimal place will move from this position to one place to the right, thereby giving us the answer. I'll just be writing here is 452.5. In the next second one, where you have two zeros, that means you are multiplying it by 100, the decimal will move two places to the right. Well, when it is moving two places to the right, it will become 4525. There is no decimal. See, writing a decimal at the end will not make any difference. And here, as it is moving three places, because we are multiplying it by 1000, which has got three zeros, and I don't have space, another third place to move, I will add on a 0 to it. See, this decimal moves on to this place, and the third place, as you don't have any, will be adding up a 0, thereby giving it 4525.0. Now the next one is to multiply by a whole number or a decimal number, right? I'll write it here, decimal whole number or a decimal number. We now take a few examples. First, I'm multiplying it by a whole number. Do so, let me write 3.45 when multiplied to, suppose 2. Let's do it here. I'll do the same thing here. It is a simple multiplication first thing, like 3.45 if multiplied to 2. Now this here is 5 2 is 10. Simply multiply, then we'll talk about the decimal place. Then it becomes 9, and here it is 6, right? Now when you are doing so, we will be adding the total number of decimal places. Like in the first term, you have two decimal places, that is 4 and 5. But in 2 you don't have any, so the total number of decimal places become 2. You will count the decimal places from the right. So you have 0 and 9. So you'll put the decimal place here. It becomes 6.90. We'll take up another one with 3 decimal places. This is when I'm multiplying with a whole number. We have not yet moved on to multiply it with a decimal number. Suppose I multiply this 6.9 with a 5. Simply it becomes 6.9 multiplied by 5. Simply multiply it. Oh, I need some space. I better write the same thing out here. I removed it and I will be doing the rough here. 6.9 and to be multiplied by 5. It's 5, 9, 45. I'll carry 4 here. 5, 6, 20, 20 and 4 gives me 24. Now if you see here, you have only one decimal place in 6.9. So in the answer you will count one digit from the right and put the decimal here. So the answer becomes 24.5. This is when we are multiplying it with whole numbers. Let's take up a question with decimal number. I write it here. 7.25 multiplied multiplied to 1.1, as because we don't have anything, I can write a 0 here. It's equivalent to writing 1.1, right? When we are doing so, start with assuming that there is no decimal, so I will simply be writing a 0 on the top of it. So it is 0, 0 and a 0. I will leave a space here, thereby writing a 5, a 2. I'm multiplying it with 1 now, and then a 7. You must have learned to leave 2 places here. Yes, you must have learned in year 4 or 5 maybe. And then again a 5, then a 2, and then a 7. Now we add them. Thereby giving us 0 here, then you have a 5, then you have a 7, then a 9, and then a 7. But now the question is, where will you put a decimal? If you see here, look at the cursor I'm using, you have 2 decimal places plus another 2 decimal places. That makes it 4 decimal places. So from the right you will count 1, 2, 3, 4, and the decimal will lie here. See, once after explaining this, I will be taking up one more question, but it's about adding the total decimal places and then incorporate it in the result. Let me take one more example here. I have suppose 0.896 to be multiplied to 0.5. When I'm multiplying it by that many, I have to put up those 2 zeros. But let's see, in the last question, because it was first one, I put up the zeros and calculated, but now I recall that you must have learned how to multiply it without putting up the zeros, or assuming these 2 zeros. Not practically actually doing. Here I have one, just to make them like decimals and remove any kind of confusion. First you multiply the whole 896 by 5, then we can put on these 2 zeros. This also you must have learned in the previous year. So it is 896 multiplied by 5, right? So it's 5 6 30, 0, 3 remaining, 5 9s are 45, and 3 is 48, so it is 8. Again I carry a 4 here, so 5 is a 40, and thereby giving me 44. So it's 4 here and 4 here. Now you had 2 zeros, these 2 zeros, so let me add these 2 zeros at the end, here in 1 and there. Now we add on the number of decimal places, like 1 2 3 4. So I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I really? Oh, sorry. Did I multiply? Oh, sorry. I have rather more decimals to count on. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll also be counting the zeros because you have incorporated, or you have actually assumed as two decimal places of those two zeros and have multiplied accordingly. So the decimal places I'm counting will be 1, 2, 3 in the top, then 4, 5, 6 in the below one. Now from the right I will count 6 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So decimal will lie here. So your answer becomes 0.448. When you are writing the answer here, no need to write it as 0.448 and those triple zeros, because we discussed this in the when we started our video session on decimal, that writing zeros at the end actually doesn't make any sense because it doesn't change the value of the decimal. So it's no need to write actually. We'll take a few more multiplications in the next session. Thank you.